What's up guys, Mickle here, and in this video, I want to share with you a massive upgrade that just happened to the XRP ledger that is going completely under the radar. I want to share with you exactly why this upgrade is going to be such a game changer going forward, and why I believe it's going to drive long-term price appreciation to the XRP token. Towards the end of the video though, I want to transition into Ripple's Q4 market report. This just came out. It's a report where Ripple breaks down all the fundamental achievements of their business over the last year and to the XRP ecosystem. I want to show you some hidden gems in this thing that are going to make you very excited. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who likes the videos and is subscribed to my channel. It really helps me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it right after a quick word from the sponsor of this video. Video, and I want to start off and talk about the massive upgrade that just took place to the XRP ledger, because over the past couple months everyone has been screaming about the automated market maker, talking about how excited they are for the automated market maker amendment to pass on the XRP ledger, and I feel like I have been one of the few people slamming the table on why clawbacks are going to be so fundamentally important to this ecosystem. So clawbacks are going to be a way for asset issuers on the XRP ledger to take control of their tokens and pull them back if they need to. Now you might be wondering, why is this such an important feature? Well, imagine you are setting up a business on the XRP ledger and a regulator tells you, hey, if any of your funds are used to finance illicit activities, you need to pull that money back. Guys, these different issuers, these different businesses, governments, whatever, they can't tell the regulators, sorry, you can't do that on blockchain. That is not an acceptable response. These different businesses, countries, whoever, need to be able to comply with the laws, and therefore clawbacks are a fundamentally important feature for anyone issuing an asset on the XRP ledger. I am super excited for this amendment because I believe it is going to allow a lot of institutions and businesses who couldn't work with the XRP ledger prior to now be able to issue their tokens in a compliant manner. Now, it's important to understand these clawbacks are only going to be put on assets that are designated to have the clawback feature. Therefore, XRP can never have the clawback feature, and many tokens issued on the XRP ledger going forward will not have the clawback feature. But it's going to be an option for institutions, municipalities, governments who need the feature, which I think is fundamentally extremely bullish. We also know that the USDC token, the token issued by Circle, one of the largest stablecoins in the world, requires a clawback feature. So I am hoping and praying this is the final thing USDC and Circle needed to actually issue on the XRP ledger. Now, I want to show you real quick that this is not just my speculation that this feature is going to be critical to driving adoption on the XRP ledger. This is literally what people are saying who are building these projects on the ledger. Right here, I'm not going to play you this video, but we have this guy right here talking at FinTech India, talking about exactly why they are choosing the XRP ledger to issue their CBDC. What we are seeing is Ripple wanted the clawback amendment for a reason. They see big business, they see government, they see institutions wanting to issue assets on the XRP ledger, but need to make sure that these assets can be used like they are in the traditional financial system. These traditional financial system players have the ability to freeze and claw back funds, and that is what they are going to require as they rebuild their business on blockchain. It is totally unacceptable to tell these businesses, hey, you need to completely change your business model. Hey, you need to adopt the ethos of our blockchain if you want to build here. We want to make the XRP ledger a place where they can build businesses, they can build their products in a way that is compliant with ongoing regulations. That is why I have been so excited about the clawback feature. I see it as a fundamental bridge to get institutions to build in this ecosystem, and what we're seeing in real time is institutions are building here and starting to build here for a reason. Ripple did not propose a clawback for fun. They did not say, oh, let's just put this clawback out there and see what people do with it. They are hearing from people in their CBDC platform, in their tokenization platform, that, hey, we want to issue assets on the XRP ledger. We want to issue deposits on the XRP ledger. We want to issue stable coins. But in order to do that, we need to have a certain sovereignty over those assets to make sure they are not used to fund the wrong purposes. To me, this is extremely bullish and just shows what Ripple is seeing on the back end. Like I just said, they are not building this feature for fun. They are not just adding it to see what happens. They know they have a line of people waiting to issue assets once this feature goes live. So that's why I am so excited for clawbacks and what it's going to do for the long-term health of this ecosystem. I want to move on now though and jump into Ripple's Q4 market report, because we actually had some gems in this thing that I'm super excited about. First of all, we found out that to date, Ripple now holds a New York BIT license and has a money transmitter license in nearly 40 jurisdictions. The reason this is so exciting for me is because for such a long time, Ripple was not focused on the United States. During the entire Ripple SEC case, essentially, we had Ripple building outside the US. 95% of their hiring was outside the United States. They were only really focusing on building products for companies that weren't in the US or governments that weren't the US government. But now what we are seeing is Ripple is refocusing on the United States, and in my eyes, this is massive. Ripple beat the SEC in court big, and XRP was declared not a security. What a lot of businesses in the United States probably learned from this is that the SEC was completely out of line in their case. Ripple is a good company. In fact, the SEC could barely find any dirt against them, and a lot of these different businesses in the United States are desperate for a cryptocurrency strategy. A lot of different banks and institutions saw Coinbase go public and realized that Coinbase just went public at a valuation that trumps their legacy business models. All of these businesses, according to Brad Garlinghouse, started calling Ripple and said, we need a cryptocurrency strategy ASAP. In my eyes, this is why Ripple is now aggressively acquiring these money transmitter licenses, and we also heard that Ripple is now rehiring in the United States. In my eyes, this really bodes well for Ripple's business model. Ripple has always been the company who has been the adults in the room. They have always been the company that said, hey, we're not here to disrupt the current system. We're here to make sure that the current system can be rebuilt in a cryptocurrency way. Ripple is going to help all these traditional business models, these traditional financial institutions, government agencies transform into the world of digital payments, and Ripple is going to benefit big from this transformation. Overall, the fact they are back in the United States, back building, and businesses are requesting their service is a great sign for things to come. And if we can couple this with a regulatory environment that actually favors the cryptocurrency industry, guys, I don't think there is any telling how exponential things can get. And the last thing I want to cover is something that's really been flooded a lot by people not in the XRP ecosystem, and that's that Ripple is now selling XRP compliantly by all the court orders. So many people said that this was impossible, that Ripple was essentially not going to be able to sell XRP like they used to. All of Ripple's products were going to be hurt by Judge Torres' ruling, that Ripple is still selling XRP non-compliantly. But what we learned in this report is that Ripple is now selling XRP compliantly, and all their different products are still up and running. This is so funny to me because so many people made such a big deal about how Judge Torres ruled that some of Ripple's XRP sales were securities. Well, all Ripple had to do was restructure some of their products slightly, and then boom, now they're in compliance. This is what I have been trying to say when I have been saying, look, the Ripple SEC case is over. Ripple won. XRP is not a security. Anything going forward is nothing more than a show. Ripple can easily restructure any of their projects or any of their products going forward to make sure they are within compliance of the law, in compliance of Judge Torres' ruling. I think this is a perfect example of that. Guys, the SEC is a slow, outdated regulator. They cannot keep up with the pace of innovation going on at Ripple. Ripple is always going to be on the upper hand of this. They got the big win for XRP. They got the big big win for their products going forward. Yeah, they had to restructure a couple things, but what you're hearing right here, that it was no big deal. They are now expanding within the United States, selling XRP compliantly, selling XRP in a way that benefits the ecosystem and their business. To me, there are so many bright things around the corner for this business. We went through such a bad time for cryptocurrencies in 2022 and 2023 with big businesses going under like FTX, with projects failing like Terra Luna. But what we're seeing is there is a completely different attitude for cryptocurrencies in 2024. If we have a change in the administration, if we have a regulatory environment that's willing to work with this industry, there is no telling just how exciting things can get with significant levels of adoption in the financial hub of the world. Overall, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. And for now, Mickle out.